just be an ordinary person. By studying God, we get to be able to imagine these things like I imagine. Of course,
so for our inchworm on the ruler problem, we've got our picture here. The inchworm starts at 0.41 meter mark and ends 5 seconds later at the 0.35 meter mark. And we want to calculate its velocity in meters per second using the equation given here. So the first thing that we want to do is label our points. So we've got the starting point is going to be x naught, and then our ending point is x. So that's where we are at time t. So that's going to be, I always like to put t equals, so we were told that it was 5 seconds later. And t equals 0 at that starting point. Okay, so we now know what x is, we know what x naught is, we know what t is, we don't know what v is, but that's what we're trying to solve for, so we have one unknown. That means that we can now do the algebra. Okay, so we need to get v by itself, so this is very similar to the previous example, except here now we don't have any numbers, we just have variables. Okay, and so you want to resist putting numbers in at this point. Work with the variables, and I'll show you why that's useful. Okay, so first we want to move all the terms that don't involve v to one side and all the terms that do involve v to the other. So I'll do that by subtracting x naught from both sides. And I'll recopy that, so that's going to give me x minus x naught is equal to vt. And now I have a coefficient multiplying v, so I'm going to divide both sides by t. And here, because it's a variable, rather than doing x over t and x naught over t, I just put the fraction bar and put them all over t. And so that's going to give us, we can now write our solution. V is equal to x minus x naught over t. Okay, and so so this is true in general. Anytime that we have a situation of constant velocity, motion, and we want to find what the velocity is when we know the other quantities, we can use this. Now, it's always a good idea to just start here and do the algebra. Okay, so now that means that, first of all, I can check that the units are right. On the top, if I look at units, let me pick a different color to write about the units. X and x naught are both in meters, so that means it's okay to subtract them from each other. Right? You can only add or subtract things if they have the same units. And then t is in seconds. Right, so we have meters over seconds, meters per second. That's the correct units for velocity. Okay, so now I can plug in values. So I've got velocity is equal to the final, x is 0.35 meters minus 0.41 meters, and divided by 5 seconds. So that's going to give me, on top, 0.35 minus 0.41 is going to give me a negative number, so that's negative 0.06 meters divided by 5 seconds on the bottom. And so, quick calculation, that gives me negative 0.012 meters per second is my velocity. So the fact that it's negative means that we're starting at a larger position and moving towards 0. So in this case, negative velocity means that the motion is toward the left. So that means velocity is negative. And based on my picture, I can see that is the case, and so that makes sense. All right, so as a follow-up, we can say, okay, well, using this velocity now, let's take that velocity and say, how long does it take for it to reach the end? So why don't you go ahead and try that? So now we're solving for a different quantity. Right, it's the same situation, but a different problem based on that situation. So go ahead and try that and see if you can figure that out.